What I saw at the grocery store was a clear reminder about why we grow as much food as we do and why we grow the varieties we grow. Guten Yardening, everybody! Well, I was at the grocery store this morning, which is a place that we visit still more often than we'd like to, but I was looking for a couple of supplies that we don't produce here at Guten Yardening, and one of those is oil. And so I went to the aisle where the oil is sold, and this is the first time that I bought oil in a while. And when I talk about oil, I'm not talking about some really fancy or expensive oil. This is just plain canola oil. And I got there and I looked at the price, and there was about a 35% increase from the last time that I bought canola oil. 35%. I think that's a substantial increase to one of the staples of most homes, the need for cooking oil. Now, when I see prices like that go up, especially that extreme, I start thinking about some of the other items that I'm seeing at the store where I'm seeing price increase. And I'm sure you've seen the same thing. I mean, this is something that is happening nationwide here in the United States anyway, and I'm sure happening elsewhere as well, where we're seeing some pretty substantial price increases, and those increases are just seeming to continue. Well, when I start seeing prices go up there, that takes me over to the produce section, where I sometimes go, not because we need to buy a lot from there, but because I like to check in every once in a while on the prices to see exactly what the cost is for some of the things that we would have been buying were we not growing them here. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that experience today, because I think it's a really important thing to consider when we think about self-sufficiency, when we think about our garden planning for this upcoming season. Because here in Zone 5, we're right in the middle of the seed starting season. We're just about to head outdoors. We got a lot of things coming up. And so as we're thinking about the layout of our garden, and when we're thinking about what we want to plant in our garden, I think this is a key reminder as to why we are doing this and the importance of our garden space, regardless of the size, to our family. Now, as I tell you about this story, I think there are a couple of things you need to know. First of all, the grocery store that I'm talking about is well known in our area here in Zone 5, Wisconsin, as being one of the least expensive grocery stores around for just about anything. And so when I talk about the price of the vegetables that we're looking at today, this should be, if not comparable, perhaps less than what you're seeing in other places. And secondly, you should know that the vegetables I'm talking about today are organic vegetables. And the reason I'm talking about organic versus ones that aren't is because the supplies that we use to grow our vegetables here at Guten Yardening are organic. So apples to apples, and no pun intended there, the closest we can come to what we grow in terms of expense or value, I think, is in the organic produce at the store. So with all those pieces in place, here's what you need to understand. I went over, I looked at the fresh produce that was there, and the quality seemed to be pretty good, actually. But when I saw just one of the items, when I saw it, I had such a shock. It was a moment of such shock that I had to take out my phone and start recording what I saw. And here it is. $1.99 for one organic eggplant. Now think about that for a second. $2 for one eggplant. Now let's say that you have a family of 4 and you want to feed them eggplant, and that's probably at least 3 eggplants this size. So you're talking about $6 just for the vegetable part of your dinner, unless of course you're making something with the eggplant just in general for the bigger entree. But $6 for 3 eggplants. Now, I got to think about what we did this past season, where we allocated more space than we have in the past to more eggplant plants than we have ever grown before. And I would say that probably those eggplants were the most productive out of all of the vegetables that we grew. I mean, we just got eggplant after eggplant. I'm going to lowball this and say we got 20 eggplants off of each plant. It had to be somewhere in that neighborhood, because every time you go out there, there's a new eggplant. They grow quickly, and they lasted us the entire growing season. Month after month, we're harvesting these perfectly beautiful, organically grown eggplants that I'm now seeing at the store for $2 a piece. So what does that value one single eggplant that you might grow here, wherever you're growing in that space, what's the value of that plant? Well, if one of those eggplants at the store is $2 and you're producing 20 eggplants, that's a $40 vegetable plant you could have in a pretty small space in your garden. I think this past season we planted something like 14 or 15 eggplants, and the production was just off the charts. I mean, we really got pound after pound, but that drives home the importance of the planning out those vegetables that are cost effective, the ones that will save you money in the long run, and really shows with our cost of food going up in the grocery stores how the production at home has the value. You know, again, I see a lot of people talk about it's not worthwhile to grow this vegetable or this vegetable, but look at it from the perspective of guarantee that you're going to have access to the vegetable, guarantee of what goes into the vegetable, and then look at the lack of a guarantee of what the price might stay at or might increase to over time. We're already seeing that, and I think that should play a role in your mind as you're planning out your garden this upcoming season. Now, I didn't just stop there with the eggplant. That was an eye-opener for sure. But I looked at a couple other vegetables there in the organic section. 3 organic bell peppers for $5. Do you know how many peppers you can produce on a plant, a single plant? You should have seen our California Wonder bell pepper last season. I couldn't tell you. I lost count as to how many beautiful red bell peppers we got off of that plant. But 3 of them at the store for $5. Peppers are maybe a little bit trickier to start, but once you get them going, the value of that plant, especially if you let them get ripe all the way, the value of that plant is exceptional. All right, take a look at this one. $5 for 1 pound of organic Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are a fantastic vegetable to grow as a great brassica. They're not that hard to grow as long as you feed them properly, and they certainly grow well here in zone 5. They love that cold. In fact, a couple of seasons ago, we were harvesting them in the snow. I mean, it's an exceptional vegetable to grow. And think about the savings. Yeah, it takes a while for them to develop, but $5 for 1 pound, I'm confident that there is value in growing your own Brussels sprouts. And this last one I've got to throw in there. $4 for 2 heads of broccoli that aren't even all that big. So basically a pound of broccoli. The cost of these organic vegetables, and again, that's all we would buy because that's what we grow here. The cost of those vegetables has gone up substantially. And I don't know where it's going to go in the future, but I know if you plan accordingly to what you like as a family, to what you'll eat, and to what will save you the most money, you're going to come out way ahead in the long run, and you're going to be able to eat more vegetables in the process. And in my opinion, there is nothing in the world wrong with that. So as you plan out your garden this season, or even if you're already in that process, keep this in mind. The reason you're doing it isn't just about the joy of gardening, and it isn't even just about making sure that you have fresh vegetables. It's also a cost-saving measure and a guarantee that the food you eat is going to be the best possible food for your family. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.